Hi, it's me, Jason, and I'm back again this week. Today we are going to talk about the 2016 Chicago Cubs. Now, for those of you who know me in real life, you know that I am a huge Cubs fan. Um, always have been, probably always will be. But for those of you who may not know me, I love baseball. Whatever team you root for, hey, great. If you don't like baseball, that's fine. But, this is one of my passions in life, and I just hope, while I don't profess to be some kind of expert, as a fan, I always have an opinion, I think we all do. And anyway, we will get started. Um, First, we'll go down with the likely starting lineup. This isn't the batting order, but this is probably your starters. We will have at catcher Miguel Montero. First base will be Anthony Rizzo. Second base will be Ben Zobrist. Shortstop Addison Russell. Third base Chris Bryant. Right field Jason Hayward. Center field Dexter Fowler. And left field Jorge Soler. You know, with the idea that Kyle Schwarber would come in and spell Montero and Soler. Baez, playing a super utility role, you know, possibly, around the 1st of May, maybe we'll see Shane Victorino, Tommy La Stella, Matt Caesar, David Ross filling out the rest of the bench, you know. But when you go up and down and look through the starting lineup, when you look at the way their bench plays out, how the DH would get used, it's hard to find a weak spot in this lineup. I mean, they're granted it's a lot of youth, and because of that, there's always a chance that you could have sophomore slumps and stuff like that. We're not being unrealistic here, but you gotta love what you've seen. Rizzo's an all-star caliber guy. Montero is a very solid catcher. Zobrist, what's to say? He's probably he's one of the better players in all the game. Just simply because his overall game is just something wonderful because you can plug him in so many different places. Hayward is kind of the same way, though he's probably the premier right fielder in baseball. His defensive versatility, his ability to kind of hit up and down the lineup and do different things make him a very dangerous hitter. But it is a very well balanced lineup left to right. It is one where there's a decent amount of athleticism and speed. You've got guys who know how to hit. They hit well for contact. They have good power games. There's just, it's hard to find really stuff to nitpick. I mean, I'm sure, some of the better experts probably could nitpick, little things here or there. But it's very hard because it's really just such a well balanced team. And I know that's partially my own fan bias talking, but it's just also the truth. I mean, there's a reason why the experts are picking that the Cubs will end up Central Division champions this year, and most likely they're going to be a playoff team that goes deep this year again. You know, will they win it all finally? I don't know. But just the fact that legitly we can say, yeah, this might really be the year because of that lineup, because of how good some of these guys are, even as young as they are, it's pretty scary. And I haven't even gotten into the rotation or the bullpen. And, we'll start with the rotation. Jake Arrieta, John Lester, John Lackey, Jason Hamill, and Kyle Hendricks. Jake Arrieta obviously is a superstar. Just came off a Cy Young Award-winning season where he had it through a no-hitter. 250 strikeouts, more than 200 innings pitched. You know, just unbelievable season. Where it felt like for every single start out, for like, what was it, 15, 16 starts, where it felt like he was going to throw a no-hitter 15 or 16 different times. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I think the last time anybody had seen a stretch that crazy dominant, probably was Sandy Koufax. And I'm not trying to toot Jake's horn or anything like that. I'm just saying it's been, these kind of dominant stretches just don't happen where it's that kind, where you're anticipating no hitters every time out because it's coming so close so often. Lester, of course, we know, he's been one of the top pitchers in baseball through his whole career. He's, still on most teams would be the ace, unquestioned. And he's a fantastic pitcher, great clubhouse guy, great leader. Lackey has always been a pretty good workhorse pitcher. For a while he got paid like an ace, but he really never has been that guy. But sitting him as a third starter in this rotation, he's in a great situation with the really great pitching coach in Chris Bosio. And he's got that good veteran leadership. I think that'll give him a real good chance to do something great this year. Jason Hamill has always been a very solid guy, as a 4 or 5 starter, nothing to not like. He's solid, reliable, will give you the innings you need. He's never going to blow you away with how spectacular his stuff is, but he's always going to be a solid workhorse. And that's the best. That's pretty much a great compliment because he is a really good guy and he seems to be really well liked. And well respected because he's going to go out there and he's going to compete and he's going to do it the right way. And then there's the youngster, Kyle Hendricks. And Kyle is that kind of guy where a lot of the scouts, from what I'm hearing, are saying he reminds people of a young Greg Maddux. He doesn't have the dominant stuff, with the crazy fast fastball, but he has that kind of crazy mindset for pitching. Where he's just on another level with the way he studies the game. His control is that same pinpoint control. He doesn't back down from people. And if he gets to be half as good as Greg Maddux over his career, that's going to be a hell of an accomplishment. Because it's already wonderful that you're seeing a guy getting compared to somebody who I thought would be a once-in-a-lifetime thing to see in baseball. And that he's being compared, as young as he is. And yes, you're always going to be looking for guys to compare everybody to, but, that's pretty great company to be compared to. And I think Kyle probably will be the first to tell you that that's pretty flattering. But I've heard quite a few scouts and experts talk extensively about his makeup and the way he approaches the game and how much he studies pitching and how much he relies on control and how much he game plans, and that he learned that because of Greg Maddux, and people can see that in his game. So that's a really cool thing, that I just hope he ends up as that good. I really do. Half that good I would be happy with because that's a pretty damn good pitcher. Now we'll get into the bullpen. You've got the closer in Hector Rondon. And set up, you'll have Pedro Strop and Justin Grimm. You may have the possibility of Neil Ramirez and Clayton Richard in there. Trevor Cahill, Adam Warren, Travis Wood should also fill out the pen, with the possibility of Aaron Brooks also being in there, and some, and a little bit of depth from AAA with Spencer Patton and Dallas Beeler. So overall, you look at that bullpen. There's not a lot of blowaway guys. Where you're gonna say, "Oh, that guy's gonna strike out 100. That guy's gonna strike out 100, and that guy's gonna strike out 100." They aren't built like the Mets, but they're built almost like the Royals. Where there are a lot of guys who are deceptive. Some of them didn't work out as starters, but they work really damn well as relievers. That's Cahill, Warren, Wood. I'm talking about in that regard. Um, but it's pretty obvious that we've got a lot of great depth. There are some good arms. Uh, yes, I know I'm just saying what everybody else is saying when I say I do expect them to win the division this year and go in very deep in the playoffs. Of course, barring injuries. Because we have no idea how the season will actually play out. That's why it's a preview, not a review. Um, but overall, there's plenty of reasons to be excited about the Cubs this year. Um, last year they came on as a surprise. This year the expectations are going to be a lot higher. But no, very well, it's going to be a fun ride this whole year because they are a better team. They legitly are a better team. When you add Lackey and Hayward and Zobrist, and you minus the defensive mistakes that were coming from Starlin Castro because, as much as I have love and respect for Castro, Zobrist is a clear upgrade. Addison Russell is a clear upgrade. In the middle infield, to make sure that that defense is a lot more sound. The middle mistakes aren't getting made. I think moving Castro was the right thing to do. I'll miss him. I wish him the best as a Yankee, but I think it was definitely the right move to go for to give shortstop to Addison Russell to make sure Ben Zobrist was the second baseman. I think you honestly have a much better, much more sound team that will not make the mental mistakes that would have happened with Castro still on the team. Because this is a team we need to have ready to possibly win a World Series this year, and if not this year, 2017. This is our sweet spot, our window to go maybe back to back. This really is that 2, maybe 3 year run where we can really do some damage, and before we're going to have a lot more youth coming up and a few veterans that may bolt. Because Hayward has the opt-out clause after 3 years. Well, the hope is that that won't matter because by then you'll have Billy McKinney and Albert Almora and and some of these other guys coming up who are and Hap and a couple of others come up. They'll be ready to take the place of some of those guys who won't be here 3 years from now, and it'll save the Cubs money in the long term because they want to be on the hook for all of Hayward's contract, because that opt-out could really help them. And overall, I think the team should be good short-term and long-term. But this is really going to be the sweet spot where they can win, maybe once, twice, 3 times over these next 3 seasons, you know, and then maybe they have a year or two where they have to take a step back, but then they're back for a 3 or 4 year run again because they don't have to rebuild the whole thing. They have plenty of talent to start with. And overall, I just think that makes for a really great team. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe. I can really use the views, so keep clicking the view count up. And until next week, I'll see you. This is Jason signing off.